Well, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to a new week of what is our new normal. I mean, I don't know how much normal there is for any of us right now, but part of the reality that we're facing here in March, April, probably May, is that we're teaching children at home right now. And Christy Weatherly is here with me. We were just talking a minute ago. Tell you what, we're appreciating our teachers now.
Yes, I think so.
I've talked to several people lately who feel overwhelmed by a lot of what's happening, but especially by teaching kids. And I know teachers are working overtime right now trying to stay connected with kids, but when you're on the front lines, it's hard work. And so I've asked Christy Weatherly. She is a retired teacher and a retired principal in the Davidson County School System. And for the next few weeks, Christy and maybe a few other teachers and I are going to spend 10 or 15 minutes with you every Monday morning to help you think like a teacher. That's really what we're after. Christy, teaching is a hard job, isn't it? I mean,
Very difficult.
We both know that. But parents don't need to be stressed out?
No, they don't need to be stressed out. I always say a child's first teacher is their parent, and you've been teaching them since the day they were born, so you don't need to be stressed out. You know intuitively a lot about what you need to do.
I was thinking last night, we were working on supper at my house, how much measurement is in cooking and, you know, the things that we do regularly. I mean, a lot of people have been saying to me, well, I don't even know that curriculum anymore. Well, we use these skills, right? I mean, we're teaching kids things that we use. And so when you're cooking or when you're shopping or when you're, you know, making a schedule and planning time, when you're playing board games,
right?
This is high-level thinking skills. It's practical thinking skills. So parents, don't overcomplicate this. We just need to figure out how to help our children understand the different parts of their curriculum as they relate to real life. And so we're going to share some stuff with you. Today, Ms. Weatherly has brought with her an activity that you could do with your kids at home, and depending on their age, you might have to adjust this up or down to fit. But you brought a lot of stuff, Christy, so show and tell time. All
right.
What have you got?
I have a few learning ideas to share with you today. The first idea is based on a writing activity, and you could start with some scripture. And the scripture that I'm using is John 1:3. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. So that would be a great springboard scripture to use. Then you can sit with your child or children, and you can come up with ideas of things, have them brainstorm things that they're going to see on the nature walk. Clouds and animals, insects, flowers, trees. These are some of the things they might share with you. And when they share this with you, when you go on the nature walk, that's when you're going to be able to ask questions and draw this out of them. You might ask them about what types of clouds they see, how many clouds. For animals, what types of animals they see. Insects, what types of insects, again, they might see. Flowers, what types of flowers. Trees, they can look at trees that have leaves, that have flowers, that don't have any leaves. So this would be a great springboard again. So
if I can interject in that, so if you are planning this, we're not just walking out to see what we see, because it's in the prediction of this, right? That kids are trying to think, so what do I think I'm going to learn today? And it sets the stage for what they're going to see. And also, it brings in some questions. Are you going to see an elephant when you walk outside our house? Probably not. You know, there is a higher level kind of thinking that's happening there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do this part, then this will help front load your child so they will be prepared when you head out on your nature walk. Then once you go on your nature walk and you've gone into the details of things that you've seen, you've asked your child questions, they've shared things, they even could take a tablet with them and draw pictures and reflect on what they've seen. And you could help them do that. Then when you get back, you're going to look at these three story elements, which is the beginning, middle, and end. And your child's going to be able to describe what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. In the beginning, who are the characters? And they're, of course, going to name you and themselves, and if they have siblings with them. What is the setting? Is it the front yard, the backyard, the neighborhood? And again, we still can get outside, so that's wonderful. Then in the middle, what happens to the characters in the story? What do you do when you're outside? What do you see? This is the time that you can talk more with your child. And then at the end, what happens at the end of your story? When you get finished with your nature walk, what do you do to end that nature walk and culminate everything that you've learned while you've been on this walk?
If you got little kids, of course, what they're saying is, I went out with my mom and we took a walk and we saw a dog and we saw a cat and then we got home and had juice or something like
Right.
that. If you have older kids, one thing you could challenge them to do is make this a fictional story. So take one of the things that they saw as you were out walking and write a fairy tale around that, right? What if you got shrunk down and you were taking the same walk? What would it be like?
Yes.
Add some creativity, because older kids will really love that.
They will love that, and you will enjoy doing that with your child. So that would be one fun learning activity. The next one is going to be the fuzzy eggs experiment. And you have these things because you're probably getting ready to dye Easter eggs with your children. Thank goodness we can still do that. All you're going to need is some plastic Easter eggs, vinegar, baking soda, and food coloring. This is all that you're going to need to do this experiment.
Now, this is what you've got set up right here in front of us?
Right, and this is just old baking soda that everybody has in their kitchen. All you're going to need is about a half a teaspoon so, and you'll put that in each egg. And this is the base.
Now, as you do that, Ms. Weatherly, so what's the purpose of what we're doing? So if a family right now is saying, okay, would I do this in my house? What are we teaching kids as they do this?
You're going to teach them about a chemical reaction. We're going to focus on 3 states of matter, and I'm going to share that in a moment. But with this, we're getting ready to have a chemical reaction. Again, we just placed in our base, which is the solid, which is the baking soda. Then we can add food coloring. And you can make different colors with this.
Oh, goodness. Give my kids food coloring when they were little, and they would turn us different colors.
And now for the fun part. We're going to add the acid. So we have 2 forms of matter here. We have our base, which is the baking soda, and then we have, we're going to add a liquid, and we already had the liquid of the food coloring, so now the magic happens. This is when we get to see what happens when we add the vinegar, the acid to the base. And you will see all kinds of fun colors coming up. Your kids will love this because they can actually see it. They can put their hand above it and feel, and this is creating carbon dioxide. So this is a great experiment to do with your kids here at Easter. Because again, you have all these items, and I don't know if you can see it, but it makes all these fun little colors. So we've created a new substance, which is a gas, carbon dioxide. And again, to review, we have our 3 forms of matter, which is liquid, the vinegar, and the food coloring. And then we added it to the solid, which is the baking soda. And then we created a new substance, and this was used up, and it created the gas, carbon dioxide. So I hope you will have fun doing these learning activities with your kids.
Yeah, and by the way, if you had older kids, this would be a time where they could actually fill out a lab journal about this.
They could.
What is my hypothesis? What do I think is going to happen? And what exactly did I put in here? Have them measure this. So tell them, put in 3 tablespoons,
Right.
or I don't know.
We could put a different amount in each egg and see what happens.
And how high would it go?
Right.
And I mean, there's so many different variations that you can take with something like this. But the point is, your kids are getting messy, but they're also actually seeing 3 forms of matter here, and they can even feel the bubbles as they
from
come
the carbon
up.
dioxide.
And that is a gas that's being released, and it makes what's happening real. You can take simple activities like this, do something cool with your kids. They're going to remember that.
They will.
And then they'll go back to school next year or whenever, and they'll say, hey, we did something really neat at my house. They will not forget that. Listen, being a teacher for kids, it's not it's not rocket science. Ms. Weatherly was saying earlier, you were your kid's first teacher from the very beginning. Remember, you're the one.
And he was my most difficult student, so just remember that. Sometimes teaching your own children can be more difficult than teaching someone else's children.
There you go. But you're investing some valuable minutes into
Yes.
what's happening now. I'll post some instructions for what Ms. Weatherly just showed you on my Facebook page. And so if you go search for me on Facebook, you'll find those. If we can answer any questions for you, you email me, and then I'll email the expert, and we'll figure out how to help you. This is going to be a great week. Hope you have a good time with your kids. Next Monday, we'll get together again, and we'll maybe talk a little bit about reading and writing next week. What are some things that you can do to help your child who doesn't really like to read to dig in reading while we've got some extra time? We'll talk about that next Monday. Thanks. Hope you guys have a great week.
Thank you.